Hey,
Hello.
yeah, that's working?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is my first time ever on a Discord call, I think.
right. Yeah, there's it's interesting. Yeah, I have a couple of friends. We started in like a chat like this, but moved to like a server. You can add. There's a bot that I use to record on Discord. That's like it's called like Cragbot, and if you're on like a server, you can just add the bot to the server, and then you message the bot, and it joins the call, and then like records. But in this case, yeah, OBS works to record everything. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, how have you been doing?
Cool. Yeah, good. I feel like I was like, yeah, post GDC and us talking, I was like go mode. Like
Oh, really?
I really yeah, like in the past few days I was like, all right, like made a website, did the Steam application, made a
Whoa,
YouTube.
that's cool.
So, yeah. How
Yeah,
are you doing?
yeah, I'm doing good. I felt actually pretty burnt out like Monday this week. So I took like a day off work actually, just completely like relaxed. I was not really.
Nice.
I was sort of yeah, like
Yeah.
so. My mind was like overwhelmed with all the stuff that happened at GDC. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Fair.
yeah, but now yeah, then this kind of content here that we're sort of striving to make some content here, like this is the kind of content where it it gets me motivated again because just by like the virtue of just having this conversation, some kind of just by letting the recording go and having this conversation, like something comes out of it, uh, and then like I have this idea that like if like you've got your channel you said you just set up, then if we
Yeah.
if we were like smart about this, we could at least make some segment that could be clipped that was like a clean segment that like whatever you might be looking for to
Mm.
sort of get on video like in an easy way. uh that's like one possibility. But yeah, in my head I've just been bouncing around like how to sort of like uh hold this kind of thing. But my idea right now is just like a completely unedited thing that most of the video would not be us. It would be like a screen share if we end up doing that. But either way, uh I sort of plan to design some kind of like static like splash page that sort of
Mm.
looks like video gamey or something. Maybe like and then I'm workshopping like a name, because then on my channel I would just like throw the conversation up as sort of like a conversation like between creators or with creators, or like maybe I would label it something specific to games, or maybe just leave it like
Yeah.
quite like quite unofficial feeling, like sort of just something, just post it there and think about it later. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, but either
Yeah,
I
it
guess either
sounds
way, like I'm interested to see like because you're describing your project to me, but I'm interested to I guess hear you talk more about it or something. If uh, I mean that's one benefit. That's the main benefit I'm looking for, is just to like hear more about a cool project.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, this is super cool. I think, yeah, I just am suddenly aware that I'm, yeah, on content. I'm like, I don't think I've ever been on like content before. So
Yeah,
this
well,
is like
that's
brand new.
it's to me it's such an
Yeah.
interesting line because like it's so weird. Like to me, yeah, I'm weirded out whenever I sort of become conscious of like I'm being recorded. There's theoretically could be an audience or something, but then
Yeah.
I feel like it's fun to work with the assumption that like there's no audience and we're recording this for ourselves, and so it's all about like what we get out of this like in the moment. And then there is
Yeah.
a recording, which is nice to have like just a recording available. Because I almost think about it like obviously this is the first time we recorded. We intentionally like didn't really plan anything much in advance for sure.
Hmm.
And so I almost feel like this is kind of like a nice way to like almost like force ourselves, like because potentially we could do something with this recording. It forces us to be like very like thoughtful and like clear in our talking, almost about like because we're essentially like maybe this turns out to be nothing and we just end up sort of planning like future content that we want to make. uh
Right.
yeah, I feel like if we wanted to make something like coherent that like people would enjoy consuming, it would require some like forethought, planning, like multiple takes, like editing. But then yeah, I put this in the category of like sometimes it would, I feel like it, for me, it's fun to watch like people try to figure something out. Like, uh,
Mm.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
and so I don't know, that may be the best introduction. That
Yeah, that's
if
wonderful.
anyone's watching
Yeah.
this thinking like they don't know what this is, that's all you get for like an introduction.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Yeah, sorry, I'm sweating bullets. My house is a sauna
Mm,
because I'm on the second floor and yeah, we don't have AC, so
yeah.
that's like but yeah, I am totally I love the idea and I I think even just thinking about like being online and sharing content has been a good forcing function for me.
Mm,
Um, just in like the past few days, I'm like, I think I want to I want to have an online presence, maybe mostly anonymously, and just to force myself to put work out there. Because I think like
mm,
for maybe 6 months to a year, I've been somewhat isolated, working alone, and I think I've learned a lot like about myself and just how to be more of an artist, coming from like a very STEM brained background.
mm.
Um, and yeah, so I'm in. I'm gonna try to be someone who puts things online and
Yeah.
you know
Well, that's so,
sees what
it's
people like.
very interesting like that you say that, because like I feel like everyone struggles with exactly that, like some version of that. Like people want to make things, and the question then is like how to get ourselves to make things, and how we feel when we're like, when no one really is like watching us or whatever, and we just feel like it's just us trying to like get something out there eventually. uh but then what's exciting for me is like this, I feel like, is a decent like first step, like just doing like an unplanned recording as like a way to just like be like, well, content is now out there, and if we want it to be good, then we now have to put out like more content that beats it or something that like,
Right,
you know.
right, sure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think yeah, I was just planning to put out my first YouTube video like tonight. Um and yeah, I don't know. I think there's just something exciting about like getting feedback and talking to people. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, I would love to talk more in the future as well.
Yeah, and we talked about like, because you mentioned being into chess, and so that, I feel like that is an interesting thing to record, like talk, like obviously talk about, but then
Yeah.
to put that on a recording and just sort of like a conversation with
Yeah,
like a
let's
train,
do it.
sort of a slow training game going on during it, is kind of interesting. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, I feel like yeah, we were talking like we had like a scary amount of similar interests. Like it was
Hmm.
like yeah, chess came up and like yeah, you're newer to chess, but you know are
Hmm.
seemingly quite interested in it, and you know I grew up with it, so I have that skill. But yeah, I have maintained a somewhat high level of interest, and yeah, and then like running, like you done like ultra marathons, and
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, yeah,
Most people feel like that I've ever talked to are not like, they're like scared of running in some way. So I was actually surprised that we had that in common. Like, uh, yeah, and that's kind of cool. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think like I don't know. I think there's an interesting overlap in uh, like I remember growing up, I used to play violin, and I like hated it, but my parents would always say like it helps you with your chess, you know, like
That's funny
and
too.
I don't know if there's like science, real science behind that, but that was like, you know, and I love chess. So I don't know. I think there is like there an interesting
Yeah.
overlap where I guess like there's a lot of like tech people that also love to do like triathlons and shit. So yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah, I think yeah, like being athletic helps with thinking. I think in terms of just being like in shape gives you more energy throughout the day or something like that, like stuff like that. Like better cardio and stuff is maybe helps just because thinking takes energy and burns calories, and it seems like having a healthy body connected to athleticism would like help. It's funny about the chess and the violin because I'm imagining like an equivalent kid that like doesn't like chess, but then the parents tell them the chess helps with violin, and it's like
yeah. I feel like
if
that's
they
always how
did like violin, it's just whatever you don't like helps with the thing that you do like.
yeah.
That's the
Yeah, it's like the
secret
egg
formula.
yolks are healthy if you don't like them, and the egg whites, yeah,
Yeah,
that type of thing. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like for me, the running is just like, it clears my mind like no other. Like when I'm, yeah, feeling like creatively stuck or just like sad. I think like, and yeah, I know it doesn't work for everybody, but for me, it's like, yeah, the mental benefit is massive. Yeah.
It works for me in all those cases. I just like running. Sometimes there's just like too much traffic, not enough running routes, and then I feel worried. Like when I'm sad and I'm running, and then there's like traffic, it feels like this isn't giving me like the benefit that it should because like I keep getting like distracted by traffic or something like that. But
Yeah.
then so it's
I'm
having access to a good
pretty
route is like
privileged.
important.
Yeah.
Mm.
I live like right next to the Presidio, so like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
but
benefit for sure.
even there, I find like there's always like one part of the route that's like just a few too many cars, and you want to cross the street, and then you're like, it breaks up the flow a
Yeah.
little bit, which
Yeah,
is
that's true.
not bad, but it's like on a bad day, it just like makes me feel worse.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
get you.
all of these hobbies like chess and running, very interesting things to like make games about. Like sometimes I thought, like almost like making like a rhythm game where the character's like running, and maybe like my dream would be like if you could make the game right. I wonder if like playing the game, doing the rhythm, getting like the game could deliver some kind of the similar benefits to like going for a run, like whether it's like like staying in rhythm, concentrating, clearing your mind. But then there's like some things like games can't do, like they can't give you like the physical thing. But then I don't know, like Nintendo and Wii Fit Ring and stuff like that are incorporating, like that's like an alternate control scheme, I guess, but it's blending like physical activity with like digital games. And you could think like if everyone just happened to have like a VR headset and a Wii Fit Ring, and it was like common that everyone had a certain type of controller like in their house, then as a dev we could make games that like exploit that fact. But sometimes it's like you just have to work with like most people have a keyboard and a computer, and if you want everyone to play the game, you kind of have to like just assume that and not much else, or else people won't have like the right controller or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, I've never done like any of those types of games. I think like I would want to do it for like the novelty and just to experience something new. But yeah, I guess with the VR, I tried it like once and I felt very sick. But yeah, I don't know. I think like I like a
Hmm.
little like separation of my uh like what
Yeah,
I'm getting out of it, you know? Like if I'm like gonna go like
yeah. The
be,
point is to
meet my highs,
disconnect.
like
Yeah,
yeah, just go outside and like be in the trees and
yeah.
be in the sun and, yeah, versus
Yeah, I love just kind of like almost blurring the lines as a way of experimenting. Like, what is like, because being outside is different than being inside for some reason. And like walking through the forest with no technology, that's like forest bathing. Like, it's healthy. It feels very fulfilling and mentally healthy to like be in the woods, like, sort of cut off from like quote unquote civilization. But then doing a thing where you like break down all the little components and you try to figure out like what are the things that are being like delivered to us, like the smells and the sounds and like the feeling that we are in a secluded place or something. But then
Reverse
like,
engineering.
yeah, and just sort of thinking like, how can we like get some of those things and mirror them, and for the things that are missing, can we like, could we fake them, or like at the end of the day, do we somehow work the other way and just say that like walking in the real forest outside with with nothing, that counts as a video game somehow, because maybe you tell the person who is walking in the forest like something in advance that lets them like keep score, or like gives them like, like people track themselves with like fitness watches or something, and it's like gamifying the real world. But then, it's like, what does it mean if your watch tells you like you get an achievement for doing it? What if you just didn't have a watch and you just tell yourself you get an achievement? Why is that not as impactful? Or like, could you sort of come up with like a set of rules like D&D, where like you have a friend that's a dungeon master, and if you do a run, they say you got an achievement just verbally, and then you did, and then now you have like now you just have this now it's just like, that's when we go for a run and we tell other people we went for a run, and they say that's like, you did a good job. That's kind of like we're playing a version of D&D with like a much wider like rule set. And so it's so interesting to sort of like draw these weird connections between like what are games and what is considered like real life, and what is like open-ended rule set, or things we consider like a discrete achievement versus like something we did that has more or less like value. And it feels like we could take advantage, like if we sort of, the more we like know about that, the more we can like get ourselves to do the things we want to do and feel good about them. That's like in a way that's not like tricking us or something. It's just like directly what we want to do, and then we have like just more control over everything, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like this reminds me a little of like, well, yeah, we originally met through the MinMax community meetup, and like, I don't know if you listened to there was an episode where it was I think like Haley and Leo maybe talking about idle games. Did you listen to this?
Right. Must have listened to the beginning of it, like a bonus pod, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was an interesting like exploration of like gamification, and how like, like there was like one game in particular that was like, I've never played, but I think it was called like Orbs of Creation, where they were like, yeah, this is just like distilled gamification. Like you could just like endlessly pour your life into it. I think like I go back and forth with gamifying things. Like I think like with community, it can be like really fun and playful, and like build connections. If it's like not like toxic. But for myself, like I go back and forth with like using like Strava for running. Like it's like a social media, running app, and like my to-do list. Like I sometimes have used ones that like gamify it more and like give you points, and then I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah, there's
like,
one there where like zombies chase you in an app.
Yes, yeah, I played with like my family. And that was like pretty fun because it was like with my family. But
yeah,
it's interesting. Yeah, whatever. Like, it's maybe different strokes for different folks. But for me, I really go back and forth with like what my brain wants in terms of gamifying my day to day.
Yeah. So now I guess I'm interested, like. So at the moment, this project you're working on is going to be like for your portfolio primarily. Maybe it will become on like Steam or other platforms like at some point possibly. And you also said you start a YouTube channel. And you're going to put a video up like soon. I wonder, like whatever you feel like talking about or not talking about, like just starting with maybe like whatever ideas you have driving all of this. Like, is there a vision in your head for like how? Like what kind of videos do you want to put on your channel, and who do you envision as like the audience? And like, is it, for example, like, is it someone watching a video being like, that's a cool game? You want them to be interested in the game and therefore like, pump up your profile, or like, because I guess there's when I think about videos, I'm fascinated by like making very abstract videos that in some way secretly relate to like the project I'm working on, but in no direct way. And but then that doesn't have much like value because no one understands what the video is when they watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I guess with that, you're free to sort of talk about. Yeah, I'd be interested to hear whatever your thoughts are in terms of how you're thinking about this project, and or if you want to show some aspect of the project, or not, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess yeah. Before speaking on like my projects, I wanted to compliment you on like you. Yeah, I played that mini golf game and like yeah, the game itself was cool, but yeah, I feel like I really like the trailer and touching on like themes of
Yeah.
existence and yeah, how to
Yeah,
be.
that it was. I found that whenever I make anything that can be considered good, I always feel like it was like lucky and an accident somehow. And then like, so that was another example of that where like, I think when I started making that trailer and I put that music, I didn't know like what my punchline at the end was going to be, but I almost like was just trying to put together like a coherent video that makes some kind of statement. I stumbled across like that statement, like put it in the video. And then to me, it was like, wow, like I feel like I discovered something deeper about this mini golf game that I had made by just trying to put together like a trailer that would invoke some kind of like, you know, emotion or philosophy about like deeper philosophy about a simple like game. But yeah, that's what I love about like creating stuff is like, I feel like when I'm like just trying to create something, like create anything, stuff like jumps out. Like it's fun to have like stuff jump out of nowhere and feel like I'm like watching myself create the thing rather than like knowing what's gonna be created.
Yeah.
And so then yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's as fun to create stuff as it is to like see what other people create almost somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'd
thanks for
highly
pointing that out. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I also love your. I think like your I forget what it was called, like orbital games
Yeah.
preservation. The it was like for the min-max game jam like parody of beginner's guide, loving parody while like also referencing like 1,000 different in jokes for this min-max
Yeah.
community like. And it was like it was fantastic. Like it was in like my top 5 games of the year, and it's like so specific because I also like love the beginner's guide and love
Right. Yeah, I like that
I
game too.
follow a lot of the min-max stuff. So it's like it's super specific, but it's like it was amazing.
Yeah. Well, that in
So
that
yeah,
case, it was like, you know, like I sort of thought, you know, I want to make a walking simulator, but then immediately I felt like, what is going to happen in the game? It's going to be a boring game. But then, like when I started to look at, like, you know, I could fill this game with like references to min-max. It was crazy to me how many, like, how easy it was to be like, oh yeah, that like that funny thing that happened, or like this video they made, or like all of a sudden it was like now I have too much stuff because like min-max puts out like a surprising amount of like content and a surprising amount of like funny little bits and jokes they do. And so I was like, wow, they made the game for me by just like, I just had to go down the list of like all the stuff they did and like wedge it in there somehow. And so that was
yeah,
like, it was fun to like just see, like, I just attribute it to like min-max is such a like strong like community energy that it's like, if you put that energy in a game, it just happens to be a good game. And then like I was like happy
yeah,
that,
yeah,
that I could like technically put that game together and that it didn't like have big bugs or anything. But
yeah,
then yeah,
yeah.
it's so fun.
The
Yeah. Uh-huh.
technical stuff in there like was really cool too, like with all the Game Informer
Yeah.
magazines and all that.
But it's scary thinking
Um,
like now, like if I want to make, you know, my own game in isolation without the help of like pulling from like the min-max inside jokes and community, it's like a scary thing
mm,
when it's like, can I do that or something? Like that's what scares me is like, how can I do that without anything except for like my own stuff, like without some other community energy to like feed into or like tell, you know, pull from. That's what
yeah,
I still feel. Yeah, it's like I always feel like, you know, was it a series of luck or like things that I pulled from like for any game that I make? And then I always think like, what's my next project going to be? and I always feel like maybe all those other ones were flukes, and I just got lucky, and then
Mm.
it's scary. It's always scary, like sitting there thinking like, how am I ever going to do something better than the stuff that I did in the past for, uh, and I don't know if you, what do
Yeah.
you feel of it? Is that so? Do you have
Yeah.
that feeling or, uh,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm just like, yeah, like I just at a turning point in my life and I'm still young yet,
mhm.
even though I'm what, yeah, 30, 31. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, like it's, uh, you know, I feel like I have to tell myself like I'm just getting started. Like I think I am
Mhm.
like finding my voice as an artist and learning how to like I think I've been my like process for this game has been a lot of uh, just trying to imprint my subconscious and like not ask too many questions
Oh yeah.
about like where things are coming from.
That's interesting.
Um, yeah, it's been like I mean I don't know if this is how other people do this or if this is a good idea or not at all, but that has been um, what I've been doing. I came to like a realization, I don't know, a couple months back. I was like, yeah, I think this game is like very much drawing from my life. Like I sort of knew that
Mhm.
already, but I was like, oh, like, very much so in ways that like I didn't like at first understand. Um, and yeah, I think also just like
Mhm.
trying to just create what I think is beautiful and like yeah, I think I've been scared to like put things out because I think I've like thrown away like 90% of what I've made.
Right.
Because I like yeah, it just for technically figuring out how to do what I want. I'm just like, yeah, it doesn't look great, and then I just kind of start again. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to just put things online and see, even if there's, five people that look at it and
Yeah.
just to exercise that muscle of like trying to create things to share.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Because certainly, like, whenever I see anything anyone created inspires me to create stuff. And so then, in some way, this conversation as well is like any of the five people, maybe that watch this or see this, maybe it inspires them to have, let's say a 1 hour conversation for themselves. And then we get to watch their, like, cause I certainly would be interested in like watching, like anyone who's considers themselves like a creator or a game dev, just like talking for an hour. That's interesting to me, and I want to see like more of that. And so then like, it's sort of like a test where it's like, if we put this out there and anyone finds it interesting and they put something out, like it sort of starts a ball rolling where it's like maybe one day like an awesome like 1 hour conversation happens between like two or more people that's recorded that are like really, the world is interested in or something, but it's all because like through a network of like people that stumbled across things that like came of this, uh that occurred or something like that. And it feels a little bit like just, what, like whatever's in our minds, whatever we feel, we put out there, and then that gets people thinking about the same things. And it's sort of like a way of like testing, like, do the things that we're thinking about and what we do like resonate with people in a way where they then make content, that resonates with us. And that, that just, it increases the chance that like we will continue to like refine our craft and put things out there, and people, it will find like the right audience. uh but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Jumping in the mix. Yeah.
Is all what are that art behind you, is that like your art?
Oh no, that's
Oh,
I found a like for $10 at Green Apple Books
oh
on
yeah.
Clement Street in San Francisco. Great store. Um, they just had like this poster set of like, and I've been recently just getting into DC comics.
Oh yeah.
I had like never read comics before really, and yeah, now I'm reading a fair bit. Um, and yeah, it's like a DC Pride thing, and I thought it was just
Oh cool.
good art. So yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
It looks good. Yeah.
yep, I'm a angsty teenager. Um, yeah, I guess I don't know. What do you think? I can share a bit of what I've been working on, or yeah, we can talk
Yeah.
chess
Or
or other things.
yeah. I mean, if we want to keep it to an hour, I guess we got 15 minutes left. There's no rush on my end, but sometimes it's good to just have like a 1 hour like cutoff to like motivate ourselves to like, you know, I guess like manage our time or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, sure.
but yeah, like also I guess this, uh, like yeah, there's nothing we have to like accomplish or anything. I guess in this because we could spend the next 15 minutes just like continuing to expand, like refine this idea. Like
Mhm.
we could plan a next episode. Like we don't have to set like a date or anything, but like we could have like, you know, now that we've like experienced 45 minutes of what this is like, we have a better idea of like what could it be, like what do we want to get out of it. Yeah,
Yeah. Are you
yeah.
yeah, are you hoping to like to do this with like other developers that are like in early stages and is that like
Mhm.
a an idea for your channel and
Yeah, I think that's what will happen like naturally, I think, because now like I record these 1 hour conversations with some of my friends, uh
Mm.
and now this one. And the so now like now when I meet new people and interesting people, I think I'll always put out this idea of like what if they want to do something like this. Uh but now I have to sort of separate stuff because uh like it doesn't really make sense like because on my YouTube channel also I have just like, you know, 3 minute videos that are like abstract like art videos or and stuff like that, just whatever
Mm.
videos I feel like making. So my channel really has no theme at this point, and especially now that like all these like 1 hour conversations are just like in the feed. So sometimes I put
Yeah.
them in like playlists, but at this point though I'm trying to like create categories where like the conversations that I have with like my friends, and my friends are not like, you know, wanting to be like game developers. Like some of them like play the piano or do software development in other things. And so that's just like a totally open conversation about whatever we happen to talk about. So maybe that kind of is becoming its own thing. But maybe I think I'll think of a name for like this kind of conversation that we're having now, and I'll make like a logo and I'll put it into like a playlist. And then, yeah, occasionally, like whenever I find someone who like wants to show a project or that I can like, you know, get to sort of like talk, or like even us in the future. Like I think if we talk about chess or anything, like it sort of counts in that category of like we see ourselves in some way as like creators of some kind of content, and we want to create things and put it out there, and that I think that is coherent enough to like give a name to, like a name to, and a logo,
Mm.
uh, and sort of have that be, yeah, and then just drop them on my channel whenever. Yeah, I
Sweet.
think that's what would happen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I love it.
Hmm.
Very energizing, generative. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
actually,
think
the other thing too that I thought of is uh, like I feel like the real, like I love the real like direct immediate like benefits, and like these days like it's hard, like even, you know, it's like everyone's busy, people don't have like time to like sit around and talk for an hour. Like i've never I've never like met up with someone in the real world and like talked with them, for example, like at a coffee shop or something. Like it's always
Mm.
been like I feel I've always like been very like purpose driven. Like whenever I'm talking with someone, like I enjoy talking with people, but I always feel like there's some layer of like something is like, this is like, I have a question, or like they're teaching me something, or like in this case, like creating content. So for me, it's like the immediate benefit is just like, I want to talk to people. Like, you're an interesting person, I want to talk to you. And so then, like, to sort of make it a little bit more worth our time or something, or give us like an explicit reason to like talk for roughly an hour about these things, it helps almost somehow to like put it on the calendar, have like the recording that gives it like enough structure where it's like we don't doubt the value of it for some reason, even though if we were just like, it's like, would we like be as diligent about talking for an hour if there was nothing coming of it? It wouldn't feel, it gives it like an extra, just a little bit of more motivation, like, which is very similar to like I don't record it, but on Wednesday nights I play like online games with a couple friends, but like I don't think 3 of my friends would just drop into a chat and talk for a couple hours. But if it's under the pretense of like we're playing a video game, then we do every week and we like look forward to it. Yeah. But then we end up just talking most of the time anyway. And so that is something that, like, I feel there's something to that as well, is like, like the pretense is like, with my friends, like playing a video game or like recording something of a podcast. But then there's the value is having, sort of letting people have an opportunity to just like talk.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I think, I like that, even before we started talking, you mentioned like, it's like, oh, like, do you want me to like send you things or prepare something? Like, no, just like very casual, like just basically like don't put any pressure on it. Yeah, I think that's a nice idea.
Yeah, that's interesting because you offered to send me like a build, and like the funny thing is like I would be interested in like receiving and playing a build, but knowing that like we have this conversation, the act of me receiving that like puts like some kind of extra pressure to like, oh, I got to make sure to like play that and have thoughts about it, and like like it's got to like, it starts the ball rolling of like, now there's like some more and more investment in this, and the expectation like grows in terms of like the forethought and like so then my instinct is like, oh, we have to like explicitly, intentionally just do things to keep this casual, so that like we hopefully we only receive like positive energy and motivation, and not like because it takes like real work to like put together like an hour video that's entertaining in any way. That's like an energy drain. And if it's just going up on my channel for like no views, then we don't want to like burn stuff on that. We just want to like do whatever we can to like leverage this and then get motivate us to make something else that then has hopefully value and achieves something greater.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think like it's also good for me to just like be comfortable speaking where like anybody else will hear it.
Right. It's so funny too, like one, it's hard to I don't mean to cut you off, actually. You should continue because I have a bad habit of like it's like one, it's hard to talk on camera, but 2, it's hard to talk on a recording alone. I've found that it's like if there's someone else listening like digitally, then it's very easy to like articulate, and because you get feedback from them, like, are they understanding? Like you're picturing like you need to sort of talk to the person in front of you and explain it to them, and that engages like all these things I think in our mind about like, it puts us in this frame of mind of like what we think the other person knows and how to take them from there to like understanding the next thing we want to explain. But what I've noticed is like, if there is not another person there, like in the past I've like written scripts, I'll read scripts like in videos, but often, I have not solved the problem of like turning on a recording and just me talking to no one. Like I've seen people, on stream, they do it with a live chat, but like maybe the live chat is kind of like a little bit of like there's other people there, and you can see them reacting. But like if it's just like you free talking into a microphone, that is just incredibly like hard. Like it's fascinating how hard that is compared to like if there's another person there. I feel like it just sort of frees us up to like really say, like make points, say points, like get inspired from what the other person is saying and build on it. And there's like I guess it's surprising and not like it's, like humans are designed to like talk to each other. So there's like the magic of evolution like makes us unlocks like different, makes it easier there. But like talk, it's funny. Like, you might, now that you have a channel, you're looking to put videos on it, you may encounter that as well and figure out some way to like deal with it and make it easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I want to talk on the channel at all. I think that'd be
Oh, you would
interesting.
do like a unspoken like sort of trailer, maybe with music or something like that kind of video.
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, my idea for the first video is like a procedural scene with procedural music as well, and then like
Hmm.
things, happening to it. Somewhat in the vein of like Lo-Fi Girl,
Oh yeah,
the like beats to relax
yeah. I
to.
just was watching that yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, but a little more procedural and wacky, and
Hmm.
with my own music that's um,
Hmm.
not as good. But,
That sounds pretty challenging. That style, like to make that procedural cheat scene. Are you writing like what are
yeah,
you thinking of
I
code and something?
I was thinking because like my game like kind of already has that like kind of is like most of my game.
Mm.
So I'm like, well,
Oh, cool.
I can leverage it to
Right.
just, and it's like
Yeah.
it's not directly a scene from my game, but like close enough that like it's pretty quick.
That's neat.
So
I like that too because I could picture like someone just like listening to that music and being entertained by the scene and then sort of realizing that like it's connected to a game that they could also play and that like
yeah,
that's like a multi I forget what they call like there's like ARG comes to mind as like this like like when they do like puzzle games in reality and people are like searching in the real world for clues and they're connected back to online. Like this is not that, but this is like yeah, it's like you're listening to some music, you like the music, you pull up the video, you like the video, like you go deeper, it's a game and then like it's
yeah.
like you get to spend time in a universe that someone else has made in multiple ways and it feels like deeper for
Mhm.
that reason. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe there's some hidden
Mm.
lore in the YouTube video that informs the game and
Yeah.
vice versa. Yeah, I
Mm.
think I've been finding that kind of fun. Um, and it's just a good way to like to document my work too. Like I made a little website that I'm just gonna put a
Mm.
devlog on, um, and link to the YouTube, and yeah, maybe even make like playable snippets that you can just like play in browser from like itch.io or something.
Right.
Um, so that's my way of like, because I'm just like I need to like have something to refer to and just like force myself to like finish a thing and then not delete it. Um, with without like going through the whole thing of like releasing a Steam game, which I think like just kind of takes a while.
Hmm.
Uh, so this is my solution, the in between little
Yeah.
chunks. Yeah.
That's pretty fascinating. Like the playable stuff on the website sounds interesting. I have this instinct feeling that like people get served stuff by the algorithm on YouTube. So if you make like a devlog things or like game trailers on YouTube, people that like those kind of things will get like served it. And so I feel like the audience will like the easiest, laziest way for people to like get your content is being served it on YouTube. And then they may see the video and be interested. Maybe they wish list on Steam if that's a thing that you end up doing, or
Yeah.
they may like search
Yeah.
out and find. They might want to like play or try out the game. So it like starts from YouTube. They play out the game, and then maybe like, but I have this sense that like I guess it's just from like my own personal stuff. Like I'm sure like a lot of indie games that I've seen, they must have websites, but I never end up. It's hard to get people to like go to a website like But sometimes I guess
Yeah.
like, you know, different
I think
studios will do like a, yeah, like written article devlogs. And then the place to go read articles about a game's devlog is, yeah, like on their website. And it would be cool if they have playable stuff. But then sometimes I think like the percentage of people that make it there, you know, like the people that read articles and get finally play those little playable snippets on a website is like the lowest of the three audiences of like YouTube and or playing the actual game. And so then it's like it's funny to think you could bring it back around where like if you film a video where like we explain, you know, and the idea is this website is here with a devlog and there's playable games, like maybe a lot of people end up seeing that website, but it's because we show it to them like in a video that they watched. And then, you know,
Sure.
maybe they end up, it's funny like maybe the benefit of that website in the end is just because like you can refer to it in a video devlog that, and then it makes the devlog like more interesting, this because you've given the people like the idea of like playable snippets on a website that sounds cool and it pulls people in to the idea even if they don't hit that website directly and do anything with it. It's just like it's fun thinking like it's there for one day. Like if they like the game, they like the stuff, then it's like it's cool. Like, and it has a website that I could theoretically visit and get more info from, and that feels like what it's ready for me when I want there, and you know, and it feels like an extra bonus thing that is there that, yeah, it's sort of,
Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, the website I'm like, well, I mean, I just made it like yesterday, 2 days ago, but
mhm.
I think it's like so far it's like literally everything I've worked on has been for me and like you know, I've shown like my partner and like that's basically it.
Mm.
Um and it's just been my own sort of deconstruction and self-discovery and all that. Um and now I'm like, you know, trying to share and connect with people, and ideally like find collaborators. But yeah, I think the website is like somewhere in between where like I really don't expect. Yeah, maybe if we like, you know, really promote it and like you know, and like push it in like all my
Mm.
videos and like people watch the videos, like it could become
Mm.
something that people reference. But I think the website is almost like I have envisioned it as more for me to like hold myself accountable and like with the devlog and all that, and also for like close collaborators to
Oh
see
yeah, point of
and
contact.
be
Yeah,
interested in. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, I feel like either way, it's good that we've recorded this now when we have, because if we ever end up, you know, like who knows how many of these we'll record or when, or if any, but like there, it's pretty exciting. Like I have an exciting feeling now of like seeing how all of this goes, because like I've certainly like tried to do blogs and websites, and I've had, you know, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to update like my personal website with all my stuff, but it always, I've never found like a frictionless enough way to do it that it stands like the test of time. And then there's a day that comes where it's like you visiting that website and remembering that I haven't updated it in forever becomes like a bad feeling almost, because it's like, oh yeah, like I had this beautiful vision originally that all of this stuff would be here and I never got around to it, and now it's just like like, you know, mocking me whenever I
yeah.
visit it. But it's funny, I feel like it's inevitable that like some things will succeed and fail, but it's cool to have like, you know, like you know, hopefully all of this does succeed massively, and then future recordings are just like what went right. But equally valuable is like in the future, if, you know, things get turned down or become different, you know, if we should, you know, set out to do videos and articles or some kind of, you know, website thing, like if all of that takes a different form because like our initial attempt failed for some reason and another attempt, you know, we tried and succeeded, like that's all fascinating too. Like hearing why things didn't work out is like part of like the journey. And like it's, you know, nothing is going to just work out immediately. It has to be like we tried something and then learned why it didn't work, but then there's value there. Like people listening to this are going to hear if it if it works or not, and then they don't have to
Yeah,
do it.
sure.
They don't have to, they can sort of
Yeah.
feel like, you know, either heard, like maybe they're trying the exact same thing and they feel just heard or seen by this, and or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like uh, yeah, I have no expectations of immediate success, and I'm sure uh, things won't be widely viewed or and all that. But yeah, I'm gonna strive for it and hopefully build skills and make friends and
Yeah.
yeah, just get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is yeah, it's also just exciting when things are things feel fresh and new. Yeah,
Yeah.
good feeling.
Yeah, there's a couple of like I remembered I guess we'll sort of wrap up here. But I had a couple questions of other content that I wondered if you had seen. I think you said you didn't, but there's like tutorials called like Dev Duck on YouTube, and I'll send you like a link afterwards. I think you said you hadn't seen it, but to me it's like the ultimate like video quality production of like a person making a video game, like an indie game, and like it's like wow, have they ever created like I actually stopped watching them because it was like I'm never going to achieve what this person has. Like they just it looks like their life is so like like casually perfect, like the way they edit the videos. But I highlight that as like that's got to be like the pinnacle of like devlog. If anything, it's too good and it scares people away. That's what I would think. But
Yeah,
so then the other one is there's a creator called like Mrs. Is, and it's like Mrs. Is or something. There's like 5 is or something. And they are like an indie developer. They've had like, enough success to fund themselves with a scattering of like Steam games, I guess. But they, at one point, they had a podcast the podcast was called Yeah, I Make Games. And it was a conversation between them and 3 other game devs that were all like indie developers with enough success to have it as a career, but not wild success, I don't think. But like some of them were like horror game developers that would like put out small games every few months. They had like either some of them had Patreons or Discord followings. They were like part of communities. Like there's some product that gets put out once a year that's like a collection of like indie horror games, and one of them was like the creator of that collection. So like they were doing sort of like these community like self-funded projects, just almost like not even with the. And so I love that podcast. And it doesn't get new episodes anymore. I always wonder about messaging the creator and thinking like, and obviously like podcasts I don't think make like a ton of money, and they are an effort to like get 4 game devs together to like film them. But that was like it was literally just a podcast with like game devs saying what they worked on recently and talking about the life as an indie game dev, and it was so cool to hear that conversation. Like it was like more well produced than certainly anything I've put the energy into produce so far.
that sounds awesome. I'll probably check that out. I think yeah, I that's close to my dream is to work with like a small team and make just radical weird games and have it be sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a long ways away, but I don't know.
I feel like society is a long way. What's my?
Yeah.
Or what? Sorry, what did you say?
What's your goal? What's your dream?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a pretty specific goal, which I believe is actually like quite achievable, and for whatever reason, I just can't yet like deliver on it. Recently, maybe a little bit of a lack of motivation. But every day I sit down, I feel like I could just do it all today, and then I would achieve my dreams or whatever. But it's essentially, so it's basically like, so yeah, I'm going to talk through the experience of what I want to deliver to like an end user, which is like you put a URL in a website and you visit that website and instantly you're in like a 3D game experience. I envision this like running on 3JS. You play with like your mouse and keyboard, and it is like a walking simulator, except for there's like procedurally generated music, probably of the like meditation like genre. So right away, you're just immediately like the second you want to be like whatever computer you're at, you hit that URL and you're in. And I would even add like a procedurally generated world with like procedurally generated music. and then you're just walking around in that space. And I would describe that as like an interactive like music video is what I would think. Like I want it to be like, you know, when you watch a music video, you're like, oh, there's like so many wacky things happen in music videos, and you can feel like the beat and the things that happen are on the rhythm. But this would be like the music would be procedural, and it, you know, on screen would be something that looks like the wackiness of like a music video. But in the art style that I'm capable of is like minimalism, and so it would be like axis aligned, like 3D rectangles, some of them glowing, maybe some shader effects, some fog, and then, but the idea is maybe I throw in like, you can have a 15-minute timer so that it becomes like the thing that I'm delivering is like, it's a day at work and you want to take a 15-minute break and just be somewhere else. Then you hit this website and you have this like this droning, like meditative music. You have, it almost would feel like you're in some kind of like ritual or temple, and you can maybe feel the size of the space or something, and you just kind of get to wander and sort of be lost for like 15 minutes, and then, you know, the timer brings you out of it and you just go back to whatever else you were doing. And then that also, like, you know, if I can make that maybe even in the most simple way possible, like the, you know, bad music, bad art, very small, non-procedural generated environment, like that's the version of that I think is immediately achievable today. Like I could just put a 3D scene, and in theory I could have that, and I don't think it would feel right though. I think that's where the work would be, is like tweaking all of that to make it like the exact right vibe. But I mean, if I have those skills and I'm making that kind of experience, then easily I could see like, I can create new levels. I can drop in like audio instructions. I can put up like pieces of art, like in, you know, sort of a 3D gallery. And that expands this space of like, there's a lot of stories I could tell with that sort of as the centerpiece of like that experience of like in the browser 3D game. And that, yeah, that's my vision, but it just feels weird to me that like I should really just get on that and make, you know, the minimum viable product of that. And I think maybe I'm close to that, but I always make something and then I'm like, if it doesn't immediately like resonate with me, or like the lighting is not perfect, I immediately think like, oh, I gotta do something, like it's not gonna work or something, you know. That's my first thought.
Yeah.
But then it's hard to like stay focused and building something when you're like, oh, it's not going to look good. What's the point then? You know, and then it's like, but wait, I have to make it look good.
We were talking about that. Or it's like, I resonate so strongly with that. Or it's like the thing you're kind of supposed to do with like, just make everything blocks and, you know, it's not going to look good. And then at the very end,
right,
it's like, I can't do it. But that sounds very beautiful. I would love to see that. And hope that.
Yeah, that's what I feel too, is like, I would love to see that. But it's weird me saying that because like I'm the one making it. But that's back to what I was saying before, is like this thing is gonna, I feel, unfold before me, and like I'm the first one that gets to like play this new game that I wouldn't expect to exist until like the moment that it does. It's sort of a weird. That's what that's like my motivation, is like it's the kind of experience that I want to have, and I really, by describing it, I hope that someone else will just make it, and then I just get to like like have that experience without having to do it. But it's like fine, like if I have to.
A big crossover with my final level is just like it's just like mostly made, but they're just walking through a forest, like a procedurally generated with music, and the trees are you know, interesting looking. And so I don't know. I mean, it probably like what I am envisioning is like completely different from what you are. But I think like there's some like deeper thing there that's just like walking through a beautiful environment that's like reacting to you, and audio visually, like there's something there that's extremely compelling. Yeah, it's interesting, like playing other games that like you were selling me on like 1,000 times Resist, and like I have that game downloaded now. I'm just like, now I'm like sold on it. I'm just like waiting for like the right day to like sit down and play it. But that
people are, a lot of people are saying like the environments in that game and other things are great. So then it's like, that game is going to give me some experience, and that's almost like setting a high bar. It's like whatever experience, whatever I make delivers, is like something less than that, I would imagine, or hopefully like different in an equal way, but like I don't have like aspirations for myself, but but it's funny to see like, to think that like it's interesting to think like somehow I still maintain both these ideas that like this simple in-browser, simple 3D world will be like this mind-blowing experience, but also when like good game devs professionally release like a product to like that gets awards, still like all of humanity doesn't like agree that like we've achieved the next pinnacle, like something we did with that game. It's just like another game on Steam that some people play, and it's like, do we need to do something more? Or maybe the media, like maybe any medium is only capable of, like maybe I'm sure there's like a subset of individuals where it's like a mind-blowing, like their favorite game of all time, and maybe you can't make everyone's favorite game of all time. I guess that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's like I think like your idea for like in the browser is like really good, because I think
right, yeah.
I thought about this a lot, where I think the most impactful games that like really stick in my head like have almost always been walking simulators. Like it's like Thousand Times Resist, What Remains of Edith Finch.
That's another What Remains of Edith Finch. I also have to play that. I have another friend that's like sold me on that game, and I just have these like.
I think that's like the thing is like both like emotionally and just like you gotta like, I don't know, emotionally mostly, but then also just the logistics of like using Steam and getting it running and everything. It's like a lot of activation energy to like start these games. Like
yeah.
And I feel that with like all, it's like beginner's guide. I played it like kind of recent. I played it, like shortly before I played your game, because I was like, I don't know, I was just putting it off for a very long time. But I think like there is like so much that could be done for like accessibility for especially like walking simulators. Like I think like it can run in the browser. Like I just think like my parents who like play zero games, or like my mom who like reads like a ton of books, like I think she would actually really love like these walking simulators with like that have rich narrative. It's just like the gaminess of it, and the it's like you're not gonna get a Steam account,
It's that the small amount of friction of like downloading something eats away at the like the like if we're in the mood to like play like a walking simulator that's going to deliver us a message, it's enough friction that like it's like like it's like recording a call. It's like we feel like talking to someone, but then like the work, or like we feel like putting our ideas out there, but the work of like making a video for it in a highly produced way is too much. So then we never do it. But like if you can lower the bar enough where it's just like put on a recording, we agree it's unedited, everything, like then we end up making it because the friction is like low enough. And then once you've done it once, you can like go, you have the motivation to like do a higher version of it. But yeah, the one thing I want to mention was like it reminds me of like when like in the evening I will feel like if I could just go to sleep right now, this is the perfect moment, like if I'm tired. But then when you get changed, brush teeth, like turn on the bathroom light, like do all these preparations, then you lie down, you don't feel like sleeping anymore. And like, but all those preparations are equivalent to like downloading a game and like booting it up for the first time and like going through the menus. And so it's like, it's like we're in a fragile emotional state, and the timing is right where like if you could just hit a URL and flow into that experience, then you're just kind of drifting into the experience in an unbroken way. But like, if you have to like sterilely like prepare it and hit, like wait for a download and hit like some kind of error, and it affects it in like it shouldn't affect it, but it does somehow, and then you just don't. You're not in that same emotional state or something.
Yeah.
And
Emotional
that's kind of
friction, yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Super interesting,
Yeah.
yeah. Feel like what's the thing with I haven't worked in tech for a minute, but there's like some metric where like if the user experiences over like half a second of lag or something like
Yeah.
that, it's like they're just gonna leave the website. Like
Yeah.
there's no like yeah,
Yeah.
it's too much.
Yeah, it's so funny to have that, like, yeah, that metric of like, if you add an extra click, you'll lose like half the users. And we know that's like a
Right.
scientific thing we know. And we're just like, it probably doesn't apply to like anything else. But it's like, for sure, like
Right.
asking someone to download a video game, like, you're losing so many people probably doing that. Because what
Yeah.
is it?
It's-
Like Roblox is in a browser, right? I think. Or at least maybe. Maybe it's
Uh,
not.
Roblox, you have to download a client,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think.
So
Uh,
that's, yeah, it's
yeah.
separated then. But
With
I guess that's another thing is I feel like Roblox is not the best company, but like how much more powerful could they be if there was no, if you could just visit a website and be playing like without an
Yeah,
account or something.
yeah.
But we don't want
That's
them to be
what
that powerful,
we're
but
playing on.
they could be.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Did you ever play like I don't know what browser-based game like RuneScape? I feel like that was the
Oh
power of
yeah,
RuneScape. You just
yeah,
you could just log right in from a school computer if it didn't have
right.
the block. And yeah, like
Yeah, they had to add friction. It was so easy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Anyways, yeah,
Yeah,
looking forward to seeing how it goes for you.
yeah, yeah. It sounds good. Yeah. Well, the next thing now that I'm motivated, like I'm thinking I'll make just like something in Blender, which I'm gonna like screenshot as like the static logo for this new thing. But it's like already I'm the reason why I'll probably end up booting up Blender tonight. Like I always want to boot up. I always think like I don't spend enough time like improving my Blender skill. But now finally I have a reason to, which is like make an appealing logo for like like this
Nice.
sort of line of podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
sweet.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks for talking. We can, yeah, like via chat, we can just like plan if we want to record something new. Uh, yeah, sounds good.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah,
Yeah,
this was fun. Yeah, it's good to. Thanks for inviting me on, and yeah, help get my sea legs with all this, and
hmm
yeah.
yeah. All
Very
right.
cool.
Yeah. Have a good night.
See ya.
Yeah.